Please, thank you for coming to our December 13, 2013 council meeting. We have so much on the agenda tonight, we're actually going to start a little bit early. We're starting without our law department here, so hopefully nobody will say the wrong thing in between now and when he gets here. May I have a roll call, and I am showing 7:20.
Mr. Barker. Miss Darrow.
Here.
Mr. Engel.
Here.
Mr. Martin.
Here.
Mr. Miller.
Here.
Mr. Molnar.
Here. Very good. We're going to start the meeting off with our president, Nick Molnar, leading us in the Pledge of Allegiance, after which he will give the invocation.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Just like to take a moment of silence to remember one of our fallen brothers. We had a loss in our Macedonia family with Dan Gagliardi. He served us for 30 years on our fire department. It was very sudden, great guy. I feel very sorry for the family, so take a moment of silence. Thank you.
Okay, starting right off with the minutes, do we have any changes, or do I have a motion to accept?
So made. Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? All right.
Mr. Mayor?
Yes.
If I may interrupt, before we continue, I'd like to make a motion to acknowledge the October-November finance report as presented by the Finance Director.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? So accepted. Thank you, Finance Chair Dave Engel. All right. Tonight we have some proclamations, presentations, and we're going to get started on this and try and move it as quickly as we can, starting with Jim Crebar. Jim?
Can you give me 1 minute? My family's on their way.
Oh, okay. Well then, let's go to the next is a presentation by the fire department. Are we going to have that because they were on call? Paul? Any? We. No problem. What we'll do is we'll move right on going into the presentation of wakeboarding. The floor is yours. We have Eric and Rob who are going to explain it to us. Tell us a little bit about yourselves. Don't forget to use the mic. If we can have someone dim the lights, please.
Good evening. My name is Rob Lewis. For anybody that don't know who I am, I'm a resident of Macedonia. I've lived in Macedonia since I was 2 years old. A little bit of history behind myself. I was a professional water skier at SeaWorld for 10 years. Skied here at the park in Aurora, Ohio, and also skied at the SeaWorld in Orlando, Florida for 3 years. I'm currently a lieutenant, a full-time firefighter paramedic with the city of Macedonia. And this is my partner.
Good evening. My name is Eric Elnicker. I am a resident of Akron. Also, as Rob mentioned, skier for SeaWorld for 10 years, 10 plus. Also worked many ski schools down in Florida. Business graduate from the University of Akron. Also run several restaurants and ski shows managing. And want to thank you for letting us present to you tonight.
What we're going to do is we're going to try to move it along pretty quick. Myself and Eric are talking with the city about possibly building a cable wake park in the community. We're, with our experience and our background, like I said, myself along with my wife and my 2 children, it's a big part of our lives. My 2 boys still are heavily involved in the sport. We do a lot of wakeboarding. This is something that is really starting to grow. We see it progressing and coming up into the northern part of the U.S., so we've been in some discussions with the mayor and the officials here at the city about possibly bringing this venture to the city of Macedonia. Basically what a cable water park is, it's a system that runs virtually by a cable system. It's all run by a cable, through a cable, no boat. Everything is controlled through a cable. It's not just designed for wakeboarding. It's designed for water skiing. It's designed for kneeboarding. It can be done from anywhere from children from the age of 5 all the way up to, I know of one person who is actually 72 years old. The male lives in Texas, I believe, and he wakeboards at a park that's in Allen, Texas, 3 days a week for cardiovascular exercise. This is an example of what a cable park looks like. It can be built on an existing lake. A lot of them are built from the ground up where a company comes in and helps you to design and form the lake that you feel will meet the needs of your community. This is another overhead view that shows you a good example of what it looks like.
It's basically the cable system runs on towers. There's 5 to 6 towers that run around the lake. And on those towers are two cables that run around the lake. The towers are about 32 feet tall, and on the cable system there are a series of hooks, and they're spread out various lengths. They're usually about 50 feet apart. And on this, as you can see on that tower right there, there's an electric motor. It's all electric driven, and the cable system has clasps on each that are spread out through the cable. There's an elevator system that sends the lines up to the cable, and the operator hooks up the line. When your line's hooked up and that hook comes around and grabs your line, it gently pulls you off the dock, and it takes you around skiing around the lake. This is basically how it looks, the starting dock. The operator is underneath that green building right there. The cue, the line goes off towards back there, and the skiers set up, get in line. When the operator sends that yellow line up to the hook, then it pulls you off the dock. And participants get a handle. As I mentioned, there's several ski ropes that go around, so there can be about 6 to 7 skiers skiing around at one time. When the skier falls, they simply swim to the side and walk out. It's the lake's beveled up so they can walk out, get back in line, and then continue on again. And there's a trained operator. He has a system in front of him, a computer system, that he can tell who's riding on the lake, how old are they, what their background, everything about the skier, so that he can have a relationship with them and tell how he's advancing with his skills. And the operator has a brake, so at any time he can stop the cable system. So if he sees that there's a rider's having a problem, he can stop the cable system at every time, so it's fully safe.
Like Eric was saying, the whole system is designed and operated from a company that basically came from Germany. The company that we're in discussions with comes in and trains myself, along with Eric, everybody that would work for us on how to operate the system. It's a very consistent, controlled system throughout when one rider's on or 6 riders are on. Like Eric was saying, everything is controlled off of basically a computer screen. At any given time, the operator who is operating the system can push a button and shut the whole system down. Based on the size of the lake, that determines how many riders are out riding at one given time. The nice and unique thing about it is children that have never done it before have the ability to move to a smaller part of the lake and actually go on a single cable that's designed to take somebody who has never been on a wakeboard, who has never been on a kneeboard, who has never been on a pair of skis, and get one-on-one instructions with an instructor who has a lot of background, per se, like Eric or myself, and they can be taken from a point where they're not moving to where they basically come up on the water. If they start to fall, all you do is take a dial and turn the dial down, and it just totally stops them. Once they get to the point where they are comfortable and they learn how to ride and they feel comfortable, you take them from the smaller water to the bigger piece of water where the full cable system's at.
We have a little clip that we'll show you in the video. It's called a 2.0 system that will show you how the beginner system runs. Advanced to pro, you know, it's a sport that's really growing. They have competitions worldwide. They're getting big in the U.S. And in the lake, there will be several obstacles. When you're just getting towed down the lake, it pulls you right down the middle where there's no obstacles. You have to physically try really hard to get out to get to an obstacle, a jump. You know, similar to a ski resort or a terrain park where they have snowboard kickers, jumps, sliders. You have to physically ski out to hit to those obstacles. And you know, riders can improve their skills. You know, it's when you're out there building relationships, you're challenging each other and seeing someone do a new trick, and you really want to learn that. So riders are pushing each other, and it's a big family atmosphere. You know, we see it as a perfect fitness fit. Because not only do we want to bring a cable park to the city, we also want to bring a nice lake where we can have other events as far as use with the lake. So we can have triathlons that can be held out of the lake for training in the morning that people can come out and swim. Paddleboarding is getting really big, so we can have paddleboarding, people come out, get exercise that way. And also we imagine having a nice swim area with a beach that the community can take advantage of. As I was mentioning, it's also good for birthday parties. You know, instead of taking a group of kids to the arcade, they can come out and get some physical activity while they're having fun for their birthday party. In the winter, we also see it as a nice ice skating destination as well.
Like Eric was saying, we basically brought this approach to the city. In discussion with Eric and talking with Eric, we talked amongst each other and said, where would we think a good place would be to do this? And we actually looked at Brandywine and Boston Mills Ski Resort. They have a small lake down there, but unfortunately the lake that they have is pretty much locked. They can't widen it, they can't expand it to the needs that we're looking for. The unique thing about it, like Eric said, is I spend a lot of time on the ski slopes at Brandywine in the wintertime with my two boys. And these snowboarders are everywhere. They're in these parks, they're hitting these rails, they're hitting these jumps, they're all over the place. So I told Eric, I said, let's approach the city of Macedonia, my mayor. I said, we have this beautiful park up at Longwood with all this unused land. We truly feel that the location it is in Macedonia with the area, with all the surrounding communities, how close we are in proximity to Brandywine and Boston Mills, that we think it would be a great fit for the city. Along with, you know, there's been numerous talks for years, once our rec center was built, about are we ever going to get an outdoor swimming pool. You know, it's not an outdoor swimming pool, but we have talked with the mayor. One of the questions was, would you be willing to put a swim area? And we said, absolutely. That would be great. So we've talked about having a nice beach where a family can come and bring their kids with an area that's marked off for swimming. We've talked about, I know Angela, the Parks and Rec director, gets a lot of phone calls in the wintertime about, do we have an ice skating facility in town? This would give us a possible way to ice skate, weather permitting, and the neat thing about it is the lake that's built is very shallow. It will be anywhere from 8 feet deep at the most to 6, give or take. The shallower the better. We don't need a huge lake that's 20 feet deep. So we really truly think it'll fit in town. When you talk about the aesthetics, as you can see in the picture here on the bottom right hand side, that's a cable park that's in full operation, and you can't really even see the tower that's running there. They painted their towers black. On the bottom left hand corner is an example of another tower that they painted blue. Up on the top left-hand corner is an example of a tower that runs what's called the 2.0 system. That's the single cable that runs to help individuals who have never done it before, mainly smaller children that feel a little overwhelmed with getting out onto the big cable park to start with.
And so a bit of history about the cable system. It was started in 1952 by the gentleman Bruno Rixen in Germany. The original park that was built actually was in Spain, and it's still in existence today, still running. Now there is over 200 cable systems in the world. I think there is around 15 now in the U.S., and they're popping up all the time. Well, actually, yeah, 30 in the 30 plus. They're starting to do competitions worldwide and in the U.S., and they're shooting for the Olympics in 2020 for wakeboarding. Just a little bit of, building on what Rob said about, why Macedonia. Down at the bottom left, there's this cable park in Cincinnati, in Butler County, and those are the surrounding counties around Butler County. Within about an hour radius, you want to have around 1.5 million people. In, pardon my eyes, but in Butler County, surrounding area, they have 2,200,000. Surrounding area around Macedonia, we have 2,700,000. So we know that we have enough people that it would be beneficial. As far as participation, it's a growing industry. Water sports it's a huge industry. We have several lakes around the area. There's boaters out there all the time, and if you ever gone out to one of the local lakes and tried to ski, it's crazy. This is a nice controlled atmosphere, controlled environment, very safe, and Rob will touch on that in a moment.
When we talked about the economic impact, when we presented everything to the Planning Commission, for us, is it a big moneymaker for the city? A business of our size, if it comes to the city, we're going to employ approximately 10 to 15 individuals, give or take a few. But I think one of the unique things that Eric and I are talking about, hopefully we're going to have our youth involved. We know several individuals, families that we know that have teenagers that are 17, 18, 19 years old that we think would really like to be involved in something like this. And for us, bringing the youth involved and getting them out there, helping children of younger ages, we think it'd just be a great fit in this area of Nordonia Hills. Another thing we talked about was, if it does go, a lot of these parks host 1, 2, 3, depending on the area they're in, a pro tournament once a year. Like Eric was saying, it's very big. Cable wakeboarding is becoming very large. Most of these sites hold at least one tournament a year. Our plan is to have one tournament a year. And the unique thing about it is it's just not for pros. For example, my two boys, my 7-year-old and my 10-year-old, when we go to cable tournaments or we go to wakeboard tournaments, they're out there competing along with the pro men, the pro women, and the seniors, where you've got 50 and 60-year-old individuals out there riding too. The economic impact it has, these are true figures taken from an event that was hosted at a cable park. It's bringing people into your community, they're staying at your hotels, they're eating at your restaurants. It definitely has a huge impact to bring quite a bit of money into the city. We've run some basic numbers. We really truly think that it'll benefit the city with what we've run based off of some of the other parks.
Community building, as we mentioned, speaking with Angela, just nice to have any summer camps, summer programs that are run, another avenue for them to get over and take advantage of the lake and take advantage of the ski program. It's relationship building. It's family oriented. The park is not where you go to, say, at Disney, pay admission to get in. So you come to the park, you pay, you get a wristband if you're going to ride. If you're not, come on in, sit down on the beach and watch your children ski, or have a picnic. You don't have to participate, and it's open to the public. It's just a nice, as I mentioned, a nice relationship builder. It helps children develop and grow. They also get a little bit competitive and want to compete with their fellow friends. Safety.
We've had a lot of questions in regards to the safety of the cable parks, and I can tell you that every cable park that is in existence in the United States and in Germany and any other country, a helmet and a U.S. approved life jacket is a must. It's mandatory. You don't even think about getting on the starting dock unless you have those two items on. A couple other things to keep in mind is when they come in, there's a whole liability waiver that everybody signs. There's a video they watch. You go through the whole system, how it works, talking about safety, with being on the fire department. All our employees will be CPR certified and have some type of water rescue training. I'm very big into the water aspect, so they will be trained appropriately.
As far as environment goes, as I mentioned, it's all electrically driven. They estimate that the cost to run the park for one full day is $10 a day. You go out in a boat, anyone that has a boat, you know, probably dropping $60 to $70 in your tank just to go out and ride for a few hours, and pollution as far as that. For water quality, they've done studies. Just the skiers that are making laps around the lake puts oxygen into the lake and helps it stay clean. You know, and preserving the landscape, as I mentioned, you know, the towers are blend in very well, and it's completely silent. So as far as having a park up and running compared to, say, a volley or a softball stadium, it's very, very quiet. You can hardly even tell it's running.
This is just an overview, gives you an example of a master plan from an existing park. This is an example of a park in Allen, Texas. The company that we're working with that actually comes in and erects the cable built this park. This park is in Allen, Texas, and the Wake Park Projects and Earl Ball, their general manager, operating manager, helped design this park. This is something that we're actually using as a footmat for our park if it goes in the community. This lake here is a little longer than what we're looking at. Ours is going to be more of an oval shape, a complete circle. And one of the main reasons for that is just talking with Earl, as they've been designing these lakes, unless you have a specific design that you want, be more of an oval sized lake, as you can see here, makes it a lot easier for the beginner, the more amateur rider to come out, because it's just a continuous moving cable that they don't feel any resistance off the pulleys. On the bottom of the screen is an example of where we talk about the 2.0 system, which after the presentation, when you see the video, you'll get a good understanding of that. That's where the single cable is for individuals who have never ridden before, would come and actually get a feel for it before they jump out onto the big lake. This is also where we talked with the mayor and everybody in the city on where we would hopefully incorporate, design a beach area along with the swim area in the city. Another example of a true cable park. We're going to show a video that gives you a very good understanding and example of a true cable park in motion. This is an example of the 2.0 system. So this would be the area where individuals who have never ridden before, primarily children, this young lady has never been on a wakeboard in her life. The instructor in the red shirt is basically giving her some basic instructions on how to hold the handle, what to expect. We sped the video up a little bit for you, so it's not as long. This is her first time on a wakeboard.
The controller has the instructor has a controller in his hand, so he can control it from 0 mile an hour up to 10, 12 mile an hour. And if he sees that she's going to fall, he or she's going to fall, he can totally back it off. It's actually a remote control, so he can be in the water with her, holding her, helping he or she up as he takes her off.
When they get down to the end, the cable just loops around the pulley, and the individual comes right back to the instructor at the start dock. So this is really a unique area for individuals who have never done it before.
This is the main cable lake.
More advanced rider, of course. He's These are true existing parks that are spread out through the U.S. and internationally. Starting dock. As you can see, a youngster on a kneeboard. They all have life jackets on. They all must wear helmets, except for that individual right there. He must be one of the owners. So, but that was something that was just implemented, I believe, over the last couple of years, that helmets and life jackets must be worn at all times. The speed on the cable is consistent. The operator has the ability to change the speed at any given time. Most cable parks run at anywhere between 14 and 17 miles an hour. More advanced riders cut out. That's how they generate their speed. Like Eric was talking, the apparatus that's structured throughout the water, the only way you can hit it is if you edge out to hit a slider box or a rail, something like this.
Really nice thing about the cable system too is it's a nice upward pull, so the falls are a lot easier than behind the boat. That's a wake skate, very similar to skateboarding.
We're talking about a tournament. These are videos of an actual tournament at different sites where spectators are there observing and watching. It's a very family-oriented sport. When you go to these events, whether it's behind a boat or on a cable system, you just don't see a bunch of kids standing around. You see their mom and dads and all their families there with them. It's a very family-involved atmosphere. All the rails that you see in the water, if anybody's been down at Brandywine Ski or Boston Mills and has been over by the terrain park, a lot of these kids are doing this stuff on the snow. So them transitioning it over to the water is going to be nothing for a lot of these children.
Thank you. Sorry for a little long-winded. If you have any questions, we'll leave some cards out. It has our website on there, email addresses, phone numbers, so feel free to contact us with any questions. As well as you can visit the website, and it has a link that you can watch the video, as well as check out other sites and other cable parks that are in operation. Thank you.
Very good, thank you. Okay, we're going to move right into the presentation by the fire department. Tim, are you ready to do that? Okay.
We have a lot of people for our presentation tonight, so I guess we can have the lifeguards come up. I don't know where they went. And our firefighters that were involved, police dispatchers and police officers come up front. Up front here. We have a lot of departments that were involved in this, so our rec department, our police department, our dispatching, our fire department. Certainly a city effort. Mayor, I'd like to introduce our medical control doctor, Dr. Don Spanner. He's going to talk tonight to go over some of the facts of this call.
Dr. Spanner, why don't you come here because we want you on TV. We have microphones. Come on up this way. Very good. Nice to see you, sir.
Thank you for being here.
Well, this is the fun part of my job. I do look at all their runs every single day. I follow what the paramedics and basic firefighters, mostly paramedics on the Macedonia Fire Department do, and I have to tell you, you guys have a wonderful department who takes wonderful care. And this is the kind of day that we can celebrate, not just the department, but the city of Macedonia, and the kind of safety work that they do in this city. Mr. Rice, if you wouldn't mind just standing up for a second. Mr. Rice is still part of our world, and we're very happy about that. Mrs. Rice is right next to him. They've been married 25 years. 25 years. Yeah, right.
Almost 26 in May.
Okay. All right, and he was exercising. He likes to exercise. He's at the city pool, and in the deep end he went down. He was at the bottom of the pool, and Lillian Chrisjack, one of the lifeguards, went down and got him. And then she's not here tonight because she had surgery on her foot, and she's got a family member who's ill. For those of you who know her, we owe her a debt of gratitude. We also have other lifeguards here. Let's see, Tanya Caddy, she actually was the first person to perform mouth-to-mouth and compressions on Mr. Rice. Mr. Rice was dead. We also have Sarah Penn and Sarah Ulisi, correct? They also helped out. We had a lot of help from the police as well, even starting with Kim Sutton. Where's Kim? Kim Sutton, our dispatcher. You know what? You know how long it took the firefighters to get there? 2 minutes. The national average for a major emergency is 4 minutes. Your city got there in half the time. Time is everything. Time is everything when we're talking about somebody who's no longer alive. Sergeant Danko, Patrolman Zabel, Patrolman Rizzo, all of them involved in this. And I want to talk to you also about your paramedics. We have Paul, who, by the way, was rescued by your own fire truck. I had a call from the chief yesterday. One of our guys is going to the hospital. I'm like, okay, chief. And he hurt his knee. But Paul was there right away. Brian Ripley was there with him immediately. You should know that the way your city works is they're ready for anything. In fact, that moment, there were multiple emergencies going on. They had a fire call. They had a lady who had a hypertensive emergency. I looked at her chart before I looked at Mr. Rice's chart. Her blood pressure was 210/160. This is the type of stuff they have to respond to, and they have to respond to it one after another. And they were ready. Not only were they ready for that, they were ready for Mr. Rice. They continued the compressions. We have Ms. Caddy, who actually put the AED on. Paul also assisted with that. Paul started compressions, and I believe he actually felt Mr. Rice moving. Is that right? You generally stop CPR when the patient starts moving. That's a good plan. And they brought the one ambulance that was already at another emergency to the pool, and the chief himself, because there's chiefs and then there's chiefs. We're talking about a chief who jumps in with the guys. You know, it's the difference between a general who fights with his troops and a general who just barks orders. This guy fights with his troops. And he went in there and he actually was in the back with Brian and Paul and assisted with medical care all the way to Cleveland Clinic, Twinsburg with, where's our Jim Creever? Oh, there you are. You're not in a uniform. How do I know what you're doing? He drove the ambulance over to Cleveland Clinic, Twinsburg, and he got excellent care. He was then transferred down to the main campus, and I was fortunate enough because I get to look at their charts, I can follow his chart, and the care that he got was impressive. They're still working on things. They want to know what happened with them, and I know he's in good hands, and I want to see him back at that pool at some point. That'd be great. Thank you.
Also, I would like to say thank you to everybody. The collaborative teamwork that took place, was really miraculous. The timing and everything was just remarkable. chief and captain, lieutenant, being within just a matter of minutes away, and I wouldn't have made it without you. And the Macedonia Rec Center is a place I go almost every day for recreation and exercise. And I was told the pool is the safest place for me, the mobility issues, but anyway, I've got a chance to know the lifeguards and so forth. And it's almost a very family oriented atmosphere. So it encourages everybody to stick together. And even Lillian, was watching me, after exercising, watching me swim, but I've, over the years, watched the lifeguards in action, and if you had a chance to talk with them, and all I can say is thank you.
No, I think you said it all.
Job well done, guys. Job well done.
Thank you, all of you.
Thank you.
I don't know. I think he is.
All right, everybody's filing out while this is going on. Jim Crebar, are you within my voice, Jim? All right, head them on in this way. Okay, Jim? All right, Jim Crebar has been with us a long time. Jim Crebar has worked in many capacities for our city. He's been our service director for years. A service director can make or break an administration. A service director is a very, very important job. And over the years, Jim has done a wonderful job. So with that being said, I have a proclamation for him that I'd like to give to him tonight. As you can see, Jim was with the previous group here. So he not only is a service director, or was our service director, he was also a fireman. And continue to be a fireman, correct? All right, here we go, Jim. Whereas we honor today Jim Crebar's 15 years of service with the service department. During these years, he has made a significant difference with his contributions and assistance in numerous departments and functions of the city. Whereas the performance of his duties and his willingness to accept responsibilities and form good working relationship with others has established him as a dedicated individual. And whereas Jim has also served this community as a Macedonian firefighter and has proven himself to be exceptional and ever willing to risk his life to protect the lives of our citizens as well as their property from the devastating effects of fire. And whereas his knowledge of history and evolution of our community is a wealth of information. And whereas we extend to Jim and his family our best wishes for continued success, and may he enjoy a long and healthy retirement and great success in his future endeavors. Now therefore, I, Donald Cook, the mayor of the city of Macedonia, Ohio, have hereunto set my hand this 13th day of December in the year of our Lord 2012, thereby celebrating Jim's employment with the City of Macedonia Fire Department and Service Department, and do hereby proclaim this day as Jim Crevar Day. Jim is also, I don't know if any of you get our messenger, but he was also our recent most employee of the month. If you don't get the messenger, it's a good way to just learn about the people who work for Macedonia, like Jim, what they're about, not just a name on a plaque or a name on somewhere on your sheet of paper that says Macedonia Service Jim Crevar. Jim Crevar is a hell of a man, and I'm very proud to have had him as my service director. Why don't you introduce your family, Jim?
This is my wife Kim, my son Jim, my mother-in-law Nancy Monaco, and Len Monaco, my father.
All right, thank you for being so patient through all of this. Next on the agenda is usually public comments, and for public comments, we ask people to sign in, but we didn't have anybody sign in tonight, so we're going to move right on.
Mr. Mayor, I came in at 7:25. The council's normally supposed to start at 7:30, and I was here 5 minutes before the normal time, and I have a public comment, and I'd like to make it.
Come on right up, ma'am. Tell us your name and your address. And we, just so you know, that we have limited lately our comments to 5 minutes, so there is a timer up here. Go right ahead.
Okay, thank you very much. My name is Rose Kasmer. I live at 849 Chinook Trail, Macedonia, and I'm here for myself. Even though I'm a member of the Longwood Manor Association, I'm not speaking for the Longwood Manor Association. I would just like to make some comments about this cable park. My opinion, and this is my own opinion, that any use of the park is public land. It belongs to the people. So I would encourage the council not to rush in a decision, a yes or no decision on this. I think they should wait at least 6 months, because that way they would give them time in the summer to go visit other parks and see what the effects are into the community. I don't, and this type of thing is I'm kind of questioning the location where this is going to be done. From my understanding, it's going to be in the area between where the manor house is right now. And the plans I saw, the manor house would be taken down. Okay? And also, I think it's a good idea. I would enjoy it. But who's going to supervise all these kids when they're there? You've got only a percentage, you've got limited time during the year to have this water park, 2 or 3 months. I'd like to know what the percentage of our youth would be able to use this. I would like to know if the Macedonia youth would have preference over other youth from other communities. And I'd like the council to think about things such as where is there going to be a locker room, a changing room? Where is there going to be a refreshment stand? Where is there going to be parking? Where is there going to be, how much of the city, what is this going to cost our city? And I'd like to see the city do a plan, a business plan, on what they expect to get out of this from their point of view. How much is it going to cost the police? What kind of traffic is this going to bring in? Et cetera, et cetera. Also, why not have this at the YMCA? There's 11 acres there that they're looking for something on the park, on their area. There's already a 5-acre lake there. I don't think it's comparable to the ski program. The ski program happens during the year. You have supervisors, and you have an adult supervision, and you have reduced rates for the students to go to the school. What I heard was this was going to be $25 for 2 hours. And if it's going to be $25 for 2 hours, what's the throughput? How many kids can they service in a certain time? And if it's going to be open to the families, you're talking about evening hours and weekends only. Have you asked the churches how they feel this is going to affect their traffic in the morning on the weekend? Like I said, I'm not really opposed to this, but I just want the city to do their own planning and their own budgeting and come up with their own plan to see, will we gain more than we will lose from this? And also, we're going to lose some pristine land. Now, I personally am a member of the Sierra Club. I don't think blank land is unused. You have wildlife around there. How is this going to interact with the wildlife? Environmentally, it seems pretty safe. But what about the times that nobody's using this? What about rainy days? Do you think the geese, I mean, I'm being kind of facetious right now, do you think the geese are going to stay off of this? You know? So I just ask that the council be very, very careful, because we've had two things already fail in Macedonia. We had the first golf course fail, and we also had that visitor center fail. And I would just like you to be very, very careful and consider all the aspects of this, not just the limited idea of the park itself. Thank you very much.
Moving on to pending and/or new legislation, starting with ordinance number 68-2012.
I'd like to offer ordinance 68, 2012 for its third reading by title only.
An ordinance amending the business regulation code by adding new chapter 794 entitled Hotel and Motel Security and Safety.
And what's your pleasure?
Mayor, before I go into that, I just want to clarify that this is the old hotel ordinance that we drafted, and this is the one that we are going to abolish to get to the new one. So with that, I move that we pass and post according to law ordinance 68, 2012.
Second.
Roll call.
Miss Darrow.
No.
Mr. Engel.
Yes.
No.
I mean, no, I'm sorry.
Thank you for picking up on the people. Mr. Martin.
No.
Mr. Miller.
No.
Mr. Molnar.
No.
All right, ordinance number 68, 2012 fails. Ordinance number 71-2012.
Mr. Mayor, I would like to offer ordinance number 71, 2012 for its third reading by title only.
Second.
An ordinance amending section 117905 of the codified ordinances of the City of Macedonia in order to prohibit all electric signs.
And what's your pleasure?
Before I ask this to be passed and posted according to law, I just want to point out that we had a meeting a couple of weeks ago where we discussed both Mr. Molnar's ordinance and my ordinance concerning electric signs.
Can you speak up, Mr. Martin, please?
Pardon?
Can you speak up, please? I know there's some...
Yeah, I'm not feeling that great. I apologize.
Okay, sorry.
But at any rate, a couple weeks ago, Mr. Molnar and I had arranged a meeting to discuss both the issue of hotel security and electric signs. And the portion of my meeting dealt with the total prohibition of electric signs, because I feel that they are an eyesore to the community and that they devalue property over the long run. At any rate, we had a very good discussion. We had professionals in. We heard several different points of view. And what we've decided to do was to impose a moratorium where we would not allow these signs for 180 days and further study the issue. And I've talked with residents and I've talked with fellow council members, and Councilman Ingalls suggested to me that perhaps we set up some sort of a steering committee or other group of interested persons whereby we could study this issue. So This ordinance is going to be defeated. Everyone should vote no on it this evening. And we're going to later on in the agenda have an ordinance whereby we will mandate a moratorium for 180 days to give the city time to study the issue. So that is the purpose of this ordinance tonight and why it will fail. I move we pass and post ordinance number 71 according to law.
Second.
Roll call.
Ms. Darrow?
No.
Mr. Engel?
No.
Mr. Martin?
No.
Mr. Miller?
No.
And Mr. Mulner?
No.
Ordinance 71, 2012 fails. Moving on to ordinance number 84-2012.
Mr. Mayor, I'd like to offer ordinance 84, 2012 for first, second, and third reading by title only.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
An ordinance authorizing the mayor to enter into a 3-year contract agreement with Julian and Grube, Inc. for certain finance services.
Short explanation, please, Scott.
Yes, sir. This is a CPA firm that we've used for over 5 years, and they compile our annual financial statements to present to the auditor. They basically take our GAAP, it's a generally accepted accounting practices, and put them into a format that the auditor then audits. And by going with a 3-year contract instead of the historic 1 year that we've done in the past, we'll be able to save additional $3,500 in their fees.
And what's your pleasure?
Mr. Mayor, I move that we pass and post ordinance 84, 2012 according to law.
Second.
Roll call.
Ms. Darrow?
Yes.
Mr. Engel?
Yes.
Mr. Martin?
Yes.
Mr. Miller?
Yes.
Mr. Mulner?
Yes.
Ordinance 84, 2012 passes. Moving on to ordinance 85-2012.
Mr. Mayor,
Stay again.
Mr. Mayor, I would ask that ordinance 85, 2012 receive its first, second, and third reading by title only.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
An ordinance confirming the appointment of Janelle Melanchenko to the position of part-time clerk of the City of Macedonia.
And what's your pleasure?
Before we go on, Scott, could you explain your reorganization of your department and how this is actually going to be saving us money because it's part-time positions?
Yes, sir. I'm currently employed. This will be our second clerk payables person or person in the finance department, where we had one full-time person, and that person was accepting hospitalization benefits. That by streamlining the department and having a second person come in with less pay and less benefits, it's just making the finance department a little bit stronger. And this person's here today. She's actually a city employee that works at the rec center as a lifeguard, and she's an OU graduate with a bachelor's degree in planning. And she's done, I had her as an intern, and she's done an excellent job. She catches on to everything, and I hope that she's going to do an excellent job for us, save us money.
Okay, great.
What's your pleasure?
Mr. Mayor, I move that we pass and post ordinance 85, 2012 according to law.
Second.
Roll call.
Ms. Darrow?
Yes.
Mr. Engel?
Yes.
Mr. Martin? Mr. Miller?
Yes.
Mr. Mulner?
Yes.
Ordinance 85, 2012 passes. Janelle, welcome. All right, to our employee. Janelle's been with us for quite some time, and she's a very smart young lady. We're very glad to have you. All right, moving on to ordinance 86-2012.
Mayor, I'd like to offer ordinance number 86, 2012 for its first, second, and third reading by title only.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
An ordinance confirming the appointment of Benjamin Welsh to the position of part-time firefighter.
And what's your pleasure?
I move that we pass and post ordinance 86, 2012 according to law.
Second.
Roll call.
Ms. Darrow?
Yes.
Mr. Engel?
Yes.
Mr. Martin?
Yes.
Mr. Miller?
Yes.
Mr. Mulner?
Yes.
Benjamin Welcome to our family. Come on up front here. Bring your family with you. Tim, what can you tell us about Ben?
Well, Ben comes to us as a young paramedic, professional firefighter. He is a part-timer right now with Hiram Fire Department, so we're his second fire department and he works on. Comes fully trained as a state-certified National Registry paramedic, also a state-certified professional firefighter, so he already has all of the training. He went through, along with the other guys that we're going to hire here tonight, quite a rigorous process to get into the fire department. It starts out with a psychological review, and then he goes through a panel of interviews with all of our officers where they rate him, and then he goes to another psychological testing, then he goes to background, then he goes to polygraph, then he goes to drug testing, and then he comes in for an interview with myself and then with you. So we make quite sure that we're getting good people to service our residents. It's very, very important to us. Ben has been outstanding through this process, and therefore he's here tonight.
Welcome, Ben. Good job, young man. Okay. And I'm sure we'll see him up here again, saving lives like we did in the other instance tonight. We're going to move on to Ordinance 87, 2012.
I'd like to offer ordinance number 87, 2012 for its first, second, and third reading by title only.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
An ordinance confirming the appointment of Matt Herman to the position of part-time firefighter.
And what's your pleasure?
I move that we pass and post according to law ordinance number 87, 2012.
Second.
Roll call.
Ms. Jarl?
Yes.
Mr. Engel?
Yes.
Mr. Martin?
Yes.
Mr. Miller?
Yes.
Mr. Molnar?
Yes.
Ordinance 87, 2012 passes. Matt, come on down to the front here, bring your family with us, and Tim, tell us a little bit about Matt.
Well, along with the other young men that we're putting on tonight onto our part-time staff, of course, Matt is a certified professional firefighter and a state-certified and nationally registered paramedic in the state of Ohio, so he comes to us fully trained. Matt and Joe that's coming up have the distinct pleasure of being our first explorers that we're hiring. So that is quite, we started that program back in 96, 97. Lieutenant Paul Solinsky handles that. This is a program by the Boy Scouts, Explorer program, where 14 through 21 kids can come in, within those ages. They come in, they go on calls with us, they train with us, they have their own programs, they raise their own money, costs no money to the city. This is done by advisors completely on their own time. That's headed up by Lieutenant Paul Solinsky, donates a ton of time for this program to let these kids see whether firefighting is what they want to do. We also give, the fire department also gives scholarships to any high school kid that wants to move on to paramedic and firefighter or the medical field to help them along. So Matt comes to us now as a part-timer, but has already been on calls with us and has 6 years, as a matter of fact, since he was a sophomore in high school. He has been active with the department, coming in for trainings. So he is the first one. We had a cadet program back in the 70s. It brought forth Captain Ripley, Safety Officer Ed Marak, and also rest in peace, Captain Dan Gagliardi that retired in '09. So we got quality people from that gave a lifetime of service to us. We wanted to start that program back, and like I said, Paul Solinsky handles that program, and Matt is our first person that we're taking off of that program that we're actually hiring. So that is very special to us. So already 6 years experience on the department.
Wow.
So
Congratulations, Matt. Okay, we're going to move on to ordinance number 88-2012.
Mr. Mayor, I'd like to offer ordinance number 88, 2012 for its first, second, and third reading by title only.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
An ordinance confirming the appointment of Joseph McClay to the position of part-time firefighter.
Mr. Mayor, I move we pass and post according to law ordinance number 88, 2012.
Second.
Roll call.
Ms. Gerald?
Yes.
Mr. Engel?
Yes.
Mr. Martin?
Yes.
Mr. Miller?
Yes.
Mr. Molnar.
Yes.
Ordinance 88, 2012 passes. Come on down, Joe. He was sitting up front here before, so I had to look. Why don't you bring your family up here with us? And Tim, could you give us a little bit about Joe?
Absolutely. If I call him Obi, that's what we call him. His middle name's Obadiah, so we all call him Obi. So it's hard for me to say Joe because I've never used Joe. Joe has been a explorer with us since 9th grade, so he's got 6 years already on the department. He went through obviously a rigorous interview process, and out of the many people that we look at, he is one of the guys that we hired. Certified firefighter, professional firefighter, certified National Registry paramedic, comes to us fully trained, and an explorer for 6 years. And he's Explorer 2, so he has also been on calls with us. So we're very, very familiar with these people. He's done an excellent job.
Thank you very much. Obi, congratulations. All right, we're going to move right on to ordinance number 89, 2012.
I'd like to offer ordinance number 99, 2012 for its first, second, and third reading by title only. I mean, I mean by,
We have Ken for
All
89.
right, we've skipped 10.
Yeah, you said 99. This is where
89.
89.
That's all right.
No, you didn't say it, Mr. Mayor. I think Daryl did.
Okay.
I'd like to offer ordinance number 89, 2012 for its first, second, and third reading by title only.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
An ordinance confirming the appointment of Bill Mock and Ed Morris as members of the Macedonia Income Tax Code Board of Review.
Mr. Mayor, I would like to pass and post according to law ordinance number 89, 2012.
Second.
Roll call.
Ms. Gerald?
yes.
Mr. Engel?
Yes.
Mr. Martin?
Yes.
Mr. Miller?
Yes.
Mr. Molnar.
Yes.
Ordinance number 89, 2012 passes. This is something that we have to do regarding city income tax rebates or refunds that we give back in a special program that Macedonia has called the MOP program. And it doesn't stand for a utensil for your floors. It stands for Macedonia Occupancy Program. This program helps us bring and build our business base so that we can have the city income tax revenue we need. Every once in a while, questions are raised, so we have to bring forward someone to donate maybe one meeting a year to address these incidents. So we'll move on to ordinance number 90, 2012.
I'd like to offer ordinance 90, 2012 for its first, second, and third reading by title only.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
An ordinance confirming the reappointment of Robin Brzezinski to the Audit Committee.
And what's your pleasure?
I move that we pass and post according to law ordinance 90, 2012.
Second.
Roll call.
Ms. Darrow?
Yes.
Mr. Engel?
Yes.
Mr. Martin?
Yes.
Mr. Miller?
Yes.
Mr. Molnar.
Yes.
Ordinance 90, 2012 passes. Robin's here with us this evening. Thank you very much for your years of service. People like this who have a business in Macedonia go out of their way to help us make sure that we're transparent. Thank you. I appreciate that. Moving on. Okay. Moving on to ordinance 91, 2012.
Okay. I would like to offer ordinance number 91, 2012 for its first, second, and third reading by title only.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
An ordinance confirming the reappointment of Pat Lachowski as the representative of the City of Macedonia to the Summit County Board of Health.
And what's your pleasure?
I move that we pass and post ordinance number 91, 2012, according to law.
Second.
Roll call.
Ms. Darrow?
Yes.
Mr. Engel?
Yes.
Mr. Martin?
Yes.
Mr. Miller?
Yes.
Mr. Molnar?
Yes.
Did I say Mr. Miller?
Yes.
Did I get everybody? Because
You
it
did.
seemed like there was, okay. Okay.
All right, ordinance 91, 2012 passes. Pat has been our representative for quite a few years already, I think my entire term, and this is a reappointment, so thank you, Pat. Ordinance 92-2012.
Mr. Mayor, I'd like to offer ordinance number 92, 2012 for its first, second, and third reading by title.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
An ordinance confirming the reappointment, oh, we did that, sorry.
No.
An ordinance declaring a moratorium for a period of 180 days from the effective date of this ordinance on the acceptance and review applications and the issuing of permits and approvals for dynamic, and don't look, it's for dynamic displays in changeable copy signs within the B1, B2, B3, B4 zoning districts of the City of Macedonia.
This was the ordinance that I had spoken about earlier concerning placing the moratorium on the changeable copy signs or dynamic display signs. And I would move that we pass and post according to law.
Second.
Ordinance number 92-2012.
Second.
That was your second.
Second, yep.
All right.
I'm sorry, Mike, I'm a little bit congested. Thank you for helping me.
You should be in bed with a hot water bottle on your head.
All right, roll call.
Ms. Darrow?
Yes.
Mr. Engel?
Yes.
Mr. Martin?
Yes.
Mr. Miller?
Yes.
Mr. Molnar?
No.
Moving on to ordinance 93, 2012.
I'd like to offer ordinance 93, 2012 for its first, second, and third reading and include the first three whereases. I have it right here, Joseph, if you want to take it.
Do I have a second?
Second. I'll
Second.
second it.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
Really, Ms. Darrow, you were the second, correct?
Yes.
Okay. An ordinance amending the Business Regulation Code by adding new Chapter 794 entitled Hotel and Motel Security and Safety. Whereas, because of the transient and somewhat secretive nature of a hotel and motel clientele criminal activity, if unchecked, begins to proliferate. And whereas this type of mobile and secretive criminal activity, which may occur at hotels and motels, is a nuisance and vicariously causes a blight on the residents and businesses of the City of Macedonia. And whereas the City of Macedonia declares that it is in the best interest of the health, safety, and welfare of all city residents and businesses to assert its police powers and amend its general offense code in order to put security requirements into place for all hotel and motels located within the City of Macedonia.
Okay, what's your pleasure?
Mayor, if I may give a brief explanation.
Sure.
We've talked about this ad nauseum for quite some time, and essentially what we're trying to do is eliminate any type of drug activity or prostitution within our hotels. We had some incidents where it was brought to my attention where that was occurring repeatedly, and this helps to eliminate that problem. So with that, I move that we pass and post according to law, ordinance 93, 2012.
Mr. Mayor, can I just add something here?
Absolutely.
First of all, I was concerned about this ordinance from the start simply because I felt imposed a burden on the business people in our community, which would be expensive and at the same time would really discourage people from operating in our community. And we do need more hotels here because our community is growing, this area is growing, and I don't feel comfortable with this because I think it's more showmanship than it is substance. In my opinion, the real way that we should control crime and this type of activity in our communities is by hiring more policemen. And I've talked to Chief Golden about this several times. I think Chief Golden is in accord with it. And instead of passing measures like this, which aren't going to have any real effect, I think what we really need to look at here is adding more personnel to our police department. We've never had enough detectives. I think, Chief, we have 2 detectives now, right?
Yes, sir.
And how long have we had 2 detectives?
I'm going to say at least the mid-'80s.
So I think the solution really lies in our police department. I don't think the solution lies in just willy-nilly passing ordinances that make it appear as if something's being done, when we should really be adding more persons to our detective department and our police department. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
All right, roll call.
I did need a second, if I did.
Second.
Ms. Darrow?
No.
Mr. Engel?
No.
Mr. Martin?
No.
Mr. Miller?
Yes.
Mr. Molnar?
I gotta say, I'm awfully surprised, but the chief has worked on this, our legal department has worked on this. I wouldn't call it willy-nilly. Prostitution and meth labs are pretty serious. And if we can do anything to send a message, this was the way to do it. Yes.
Ordinance 93, 2012 does not pass. Resolution number 94, 2012.
Mr. Mayor, I'd like to offer resolution number 94, 2012 for a first, second, and third reading by title only.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
A resolution authorizing the advance of local taxes by Summit County Fiscal Office to the City of Macedonia for 2012 taxes payable in 2013.
A little breakdown, Scott.
Yes, sir. This is an ordinance required by the county for we get an advance on our local property taxes. If we don't pass it, then they'll just make 2 disbursements, one in April, one in August. By passing that, they'll send money to us monthly and then settle up through the August at the end of the year.
Very good. What's your pleasure?
Mr. Mayor, I would move that we pass and post according to law resolution number 94, 2012.
Second.
Roll call.
Ms. Darrow?
Yes.
Mr. Engel?
Yes.
Mr. Martin?
Yes.
Mr. Miller?
Yes.
Mr. Molnar?
Yes.
Resolution 94, 2012 passes. Moving on to ordinance number 95, 2012.
Mr. Mayor, I'd offer ordinance number 95, 2012 for a first, second, and third reading by title only.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
An ordinance amending and supplementing the 2012 annual appropriations ordinance number 21, 2012.
Scott, once again, please.
Yes, sir. This is just a budget-neutral house cleaning measure. There's some departments that I budgeted shortfalls for, and then was able to transfer money from other departments that had a little bit of excess. Some of the ones down below are court. That was because we have more revenue coming in, and we also then have to send some of that revenue to the state, which is then recorded as an expense for court cost, which is a good thing. And because income tax collections are up, their fees at RETA, again, that's expenses that are taken from books. And the final item was at tax incremental financing, which is money, again, that's brought in and then sent back out from county property taxes to the holder, Huntington Bank. And Kurt Lobinger, that's in the audience, he called me about that because he saw that in my budget early on, and he said, "This is a lot of money. Are you sure about that amount?" And I had some conversations with Kurt, but it was just it was nice that Kurt pointed it out to me and enlightened me on a few things about the history of the TIF program. So again, this is housekeeping measures, and that's it.
And what's your pleasure?
Mr. Mayor, I move that we pass and post according to law ordinance 95, 2012.
Second.
Roll call.
Ms. Darrow?
Yes.
Mr. Engel?
Yes.
Mr. Martin?
Yes.
Mr. Miller?
Yes.
Mr. Mulner?
Yes.
Ordinance 95, 2012 passes. Moving on to ordinance 96, 2012.
Mr. Mayor, I'd like to offer ordinance number 96, 2012 for its first, second, and third reading by title only.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
An ordinance providing for the 2013 temporary appropriations and declaring an emergency.
And what's your pleasure?
I move that we pass and post ordinance number 96, 2012 according to law.
Roll call. Need a second.
I do.
I'll second.
Roll call.
Ms. Darrow?
Yes.
Mr. Engel?
Yes.
Mr. Martin?
Yes.
Mr. Miller?
Yes.
Mr. Mulner?
Yes.
96, 2012 passes. Moving on. 97, 2012.
I would like to offer ordinance 97, 2012 for its first, second, and third reading by title only.
Second.
All in favor?
All right.
Opposed?
An ordinance authorizing the mayor to enter into a contract with Cigna Group Insurance in order to supply life insurance benefits to qualified employees.
I move that we pass and post ordinance 97, 2012 according to law.
Second.
Roll call.
Ms. Darrow?
Yes.
Mr. Engel?
Yes.
Mr. Martin?
Yes.
I think he said
Mr.
yes.
Martin?
I said yes.
Oh. Mr. Miller?
Yes.
Mr. Mulner?
Yes.
Ordinance 97 passes. Moving on to 98, 2012.
Mr. Mayor, I'd like to offer ordinance number 98, 2012 for its first, second, and third reading by title only.
Second.
I'm sorry. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? None. Go ahead.
An ordinance amending Chapter 161 of the codified ordinances of the City of Macedonia by adding new Section 161.22 regarding compensation for interim appointments to vacancies.
Mr. Mayor, I would like to move that we pass and post according to law ordinance number 98, 2012.
Second.
Roll call.
Ms. Darrow?
Yes.
Mr. Engel?
Yes.
Mr. Martin?
Yes.
Mr. Miller?
No.
Mr. Mulner?
Yes.
Ordinance 98 passes. Okay, we're getting close to the end, folks. Hang in there with us. Ordinance 99, 2012.
Now am I.
Yes.
I switched the paper on. I'd like to offer ordinance number 99, 2012 for its first, second, and third reading by title only. No,
First reading.
Oh, that's right, we're doing first reading on that one.
Yep.
Okay, I would like to offer ordinance number 99, 2012 for its first reading by title only, please.
An ordinance requiring that all new ordinances and resolutions brought before council of the City of Macedonia include A, identification of the originator of the ordinance and/or resolution, and B, identification of a member of council sponsoring such ordinance and/or resolution.
And what's your pleasure?
We just had a
You
first
don't-
reading.
First reading, okay. So we're a little punch drunk now. Ordinance number 100, 2012.
I'd like to offer ordinance 100, 2012 for its first, second, and third reading by title only.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
An ordinance authorizing the mayor to execute an agreement with Summit County Public Defenders Commission for the representation of indigent persons charged with violations of the codified ordinances of the city of Macedonia.
And what's your pleasure?
I move that we pass and post according to law ordinance 100, 2012.
Second.
Roll call.
Ms. Darrow?
Yes.
Mr. Engel?
Yes.
Mr. Martin?
Abstain.
Mr. Miller?
No.
And Mr. Molnar?
I just want to be clear, this is the public defender, so if someone gets arrested for, say, prostitution or a meth lab, they'll have a lawyer to represent them. So
If they do not have, yes, if they do not
with
have.
that, I say yes.
Yeah. Oh, it passed because the abstention goes with the
Goes with
majority.
the positive. All right, yes.
What?
Are there any
Well,
other
you looked at me,
motions
sir.
or legislative
You looked at me.
actions this evening?
Mr. Mayor, I'd like to make a motion that we authorize the Director of Finance to accept on the behalf of the City of Macedonia donations for the City Macedonia Senior Center of $1,000 from Nordonia Hills Rotary and $1,500 from Jet Systems, Inc. of Macedonia, Ohio.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, this motion, I have to say thank you to Sylvia Hannikin for giving us that check from the Rotary Club. And also, we have received other gift donations. I think we're going to have a total of at least 3 TVs. What are we going to do with them? We're getting in more and more stuff all the time. This is an example of what's going on in our senior community room downstairs. This is a pool table we're looking at. It goes on the government bid line right now. The bid is $105. Can't hardly buy a pool table for that. So we'll be looking into all these things to outfit ourselves in the community room for the seniors of the Nordonia communities. Moving on to any other motions.
Mr. Mayor, I'd like to make a motion to cancel the council meeting of December 27th, 2012, in the observance of Christmas week.
Do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? All right, in case you didn't hear, it's, we will not have a meeting on December 27th, a normally scheduled meeting in observance of Christmas week. Any other motions or legislative actions this evening? Hearing none, let's move on. Correspondence from the clerk?
I have none, Your Honor.
All right, mayor's report. Congressman LaTourette has about 20 days left, and he will be officially retired. Macedonia and the people here are losing a friend and a person that took our needs to heart. Congressman LaTourette was able to channel enough funding here to allow us to move forward and complete the vital infrastructure projects that are making this city a destination. It is becoming very clear that without his help, at the time it was given, none of this transformation we are experiencing would have happened. None of it would have been possible. I miss him. He's Macedonia's go-to guy. I miss him already. Today, the door is closing on federal funding, and we are experiencing little, if any, federally funded projects. I firmly believe that if we had not done what was needed when we did it, it may have never been done. We wish our retiring congressman the best. I was at his retirement party on Saturday, and it was filled with excerpts from a life that was leading him to his destiny. That destiny, he was to become one of the greatest congressmen there ever was, and one of the best Americans there ever was. May God bless him for all of his efforts to unite this great country. This was the man who went to both sides of the aisle, constantly, and tirelessly working to improve it by uniting those elected, and serving in America's capital.
Mr. Mayor, can I add something to that?
Yes.
I just want to say that when you take a look at the accomplishments of your administration and this council, I would really have to agree with you that your ability to develop a relationship with Representative LaTourette and council's ability to work with you to come up with funds to complete these projects, that we've been able to do just great things in this city, namely the widening of Route 82, and secondly, placing a bridge over Highland Road. And once the Highland Road Bridge project is completed, I think that you're going to see traffic in this community move in a manner that you haven't seen ever, and that is going to be a free-flowing, stress-free environment, something that our residents are going to appreciate during their lifetime and for many lifetimes to come. And I think it's appropriate that we give Representative LaTourette accolades, and I also think it's appropriate we give you in council accolades.
Thank you, Ken.
And it's sad that he's leaving, you're right.
It is, and you know, you talk about federal funding for roads. All the funding for roads comes from gas tax. There's no other secret source. So every time you buy a gallon of gas, you're helping pay for the roads that you're using. This was a headline in the Plain Dealer a couple of days ago. Tax from fuel sales must pay for highway work, court rules. How dare they take that money out of the gas tax and put it in the general fund? How dare they? These are our state legislators. So maybe I'm going to be booted out of office tomorrow, but somebody's got to say this. It's wrong. That money was there for a purpose. Gas tax is a user tax. A user tax means you're paying something to use something. That's no different than a wakeboard park. That's no different than going to the movies. All right? And these people were using money. How much money? It was only $140 million, a mere pittance. $140 million? How many South Bedford roads would that have been if we could get that money? It's wrong, and I don't like it, and I'm opinionated, and this doesn't reflect the city's opinion, just mine. It's wrong. All right, on behalf of all of the employees here, on another note, trying to smile and say, you know what, folks, we wish you the absolute best and happiest and merriest and safest holiday season you ever had, because we won't see it till next year. Thank you. And let's move on to committee reports.
Mr. Mayor, the Planning Commission met, and we were given a presentation on the water park proposal. It was a little more extensive than what we saw this evening. But the Planning Commission said that this is a project that we should further pursue and examine, and that's why it was brought to council tonight, so council could be appraised of the proposal that's been made. I would just like to ask everyone who wants to be involved in this process or feels they have an opinion, and we've heard some this evening, I would ask them that they come forward to the city and let us know what their feelings are. Because already this project has generated some pretty good comments, Mr. Mayor. Beyond that, I'd just like to wish everyone a Merry Christmas, a Happy New Year, and I also want to thank Angela for playing some great Christmas music at the rec center while everyone is working and exercising and having a good time. Thank you, Angela.
You're welcome.
Really gets everybody in the spirit while they're huffing and puffing.
Are there any other committee reports? Hearing none, let's move on to...
Mr. Mayor?
I'm sorry. Yes, Manor House Committee. John? You come up to the microphone, John.
Okay, I emailed my committee report. This was our final report for the year on our progress on the one-year license to fix the manor. I also have paper copies. I'm trying to live up to what the mayor said to try to be paperless, but I did make copies. If you haven't read it, I'm here to explain it or for questions. But I have to tell for the benefit of the residents, basically, what's in it, because you guys have read it. We've made progress this year. We have tangible progress. We've addressed 2 of the violations in the manor house, the main beam, and also replaced all the broken window panes, which are also a violation. We want to give credit to Paul Pike Builders. They did the beam work on November 26th. It was approved by the we had a permit for it. They did it. The building inspectors approved it afterwards. They did it. We paid for the work. They did not take any profit out of their payment to us. So we're very, we want to recognize them. Paul Pike Builders are real pillars in this community for the last 50 years. And they're also going to do additional proposals on us for more of the repair work. We're asking, for the benefit of the residents, we're asking for an 18-month extension. I guess it's a little premature because our license goes through February 28th, based on the fact that we are making progress and have a reasonable hope of completing the work. Saying that, I have to ask something, since we didn't discuss this in the work session, I was hoping it came up. We made a request to the president of council. We're asking to have we asked to have the work stoppage. We were stopped from doing work, basically, by the building department. What happened was the change in use of the building from residential to public assembly requires a plan, requires an architect or engineer plan when that happens. We weren't aware of that because that request had gone to Andrew Construction. The building department has since sent that to me. Okay, because I asked for the adjudication order to be sent to Longwood Manor, so that we have that. We have the requirements for the change in use. We're evaluating that. We'll either, if we can pay for it, have Paul Pike Builders do the plan for us. We will do that. Otherwise, we will file an appeals with the state of Ohio, with the building appeals boards, asking relief from that requirement and asking that the city engineer do that plan. And I understand we have 30 days from the date that Mr. Wyatt mailed. He mailed it and he emailed it. I got it in the mail and I got it in an email, I think, on the 7th. So we have 30 days from that. What I'm asking, the bottom line here now is I'm asking that since we have done that, I want to clarify that we have access again to the house. We want to do more work. I don't know how you approve that, but We have complied with the requirements on that.
Mr. Casmer, with your request that you made to me regarding the intended use, I actually got word today, I spoke with Mr. Ladd from the building department, and I'll let him speak to it because he can probably say it better than I could.
Yes, excuse me, losing my voice. He is correct. We did give an adjudication order earlier in the year. It went to Ambry Construction. They were the general contractor. After dealing with the law department and our plans examiner, we discussed it. We did give the Manor House Committee another chance. So what we did is we reissued the adjudication order. They have 30 days to appeal that to the Board of Building Standards if they feel there's a hardship or some reason that we don't follow the state codes. They have that right. Otherwise, they have to abide by the adjudication order, which means they need to present us with the use, and it has to come if they're, for example, changing it to use it for weddings, receptions, things of that nature. We would need plans from an architect or an engineer indicating the changes and what changes need to occur in the house. But we cannot go any further until one of those two avenues are completed.
Mike, that's state law, correct?
Correct.
That's not us
That's state.
putting that on you. That's a state requirement. That
Correct.
So as I understand it, they either have to comply, get the
Or-
plan to you, or request the
Appeal.
Okay, and we have 30 days to do that.
Correct.
How long, do you know how long it takes then for that whole process? Any idea?
Yeah, I mean, we could certainly walk you through the whole process. We could do that tomorrow as a matter.
What is the appeals process, Mr. Ladd?
It goes to the Board of Building Standards, and they have a review committee, and you claim your hardship to them, and the reasons, you state your reasons why you would not want to follow the state code. You have to give good reasons. You probably would have to have a professional down there with you to argue your reasons. You could have an attorney present, and then they're the deciding factor.
And then what happens if the review board or whatever it's called would agree with the city? Then where is the Manor House?
Then he would have to give us plans from an architect or an engineer.
Within a
and
certain
give us
amount.
the use, yes.
All right.
And a slight difference in understanding. If we filed appeals, we could ask for relief from that requirement to do the plan and have to ask, and the state would request the city engineer, your city engineer, to do the job.
No, we would not do the work.
You know, I have a question. It just, you know, this isn't going to get done unless you get considerably more money. And, you know, for the past year or two, and I saw an email, and I'm just getting used to this iPad that I've been presented with, but I saw an email, I guess from you, Mayor, where you had talked about a levy. But it appears to me that you're going to need a lot of money to get this done. When this process started out years and years ago, and I think I was talking to somebody at the rec center, they told me that they went back through news clippings that were 10, 15 years old, and essentially the same issues are taking place with the Manor House today that took place 10, 15 years ago. A lack of money and very slow process, very slow progress. I really think what you need to do at this point, I believe you need to get out to the voters, the residents, talk to them and convince them that they should pay a little more in tax to support this effort. Because the money's just not there. And I think the mayor is very correct tonight when he talks about federal funding being pretty much shut down. Because I know a lot of people, when we started out with this project, they were saying, well, there's lots of grants out there, there's lots of federal funding, but I haven't seen anything come in. I don't think council's seen anything come in. And I really believe that you're going to have to convince the voters, because this has been going on year after year after year. And if the money's not coming in from governmental sources or from private sources, and you can't go out to the debt markets to borrow money, certainly, then the only place you can reasonably go to at this point to get enough money to get this project done is the taxpayers. And you need to discuss it with them. And I believe it will only be when the majority approves your project in this community and agrees to provide you with tax dollars for it that you're going to accomplish something. Martin, yeah.
Yeah.
Could you speak in the mic, please, John? In the mic, in the mic.
Oh, yeah.
All right.
That's it. Yeah, I understand, we understand what you're saying. Mayor and I have talked about this before also, I believe. We are doing a petition right now. We are getting signatures right now. It's a slow process for us. He sent me an email today. I didn't get back to, I don't know if you saw my answer. It's a slow process for us. We don't have we don't have a lot of manpower. What we are doing, though, we have talked to the Board of Elections. This is for the special election, I guess, coming up. We have talked to them. We've gotten some guidelines. We are collecting signatures, and we are going to present them to you. Okay, when we get enough, you know, we're doing this basically practically door to door. We've given our members sheets to go out and get petitions. We've given them to people.
Are these
in the
petitions to put
community.
this issue on the ballot?
Well, here's the thing. We're going to give you the petitions. You're going to see that it'll have names, addresses of residents, adults in Macedonia. That's the only people we're going to have sign this, and we have samples now. We're going to present this to you, and you guys will have to put it on the ballot. We do not have the manpower to do that. Okay, to actually, you know, make this.
No, John, you're right. I mean, nobody's arguing that. If you give us the amount of signed petitions required by the Summit County Board of Elections, then the city's obligated to put it on the ballot.
Okay.
What?
A special election costs money, but
No,
a regular election
well,
does
the
not,
special
so-
election is in February, and we missed that. So you have a deadline that you have to be in by a certain time.
Yes.
So actually, the
Is it
first
initi-
election that's going to be
Is
of
it
any
initi-
consequence will be in May, am I correct?
Well, I think Mr. Martin was correct when he was asking, is it an initiative petition? Because what he's circulating state that the reason they're signing Mr. Deemert would explain what an initiative petition looks like as opposed to just a piece of paper with people's names on it. That is not an initiative petition.
Mm-hmm.
But Mr. Deemert could address that. I think that's what Mr. Martin was talking about.
That's correct.
I see.
Thank you.
Well, the petition that we do have, and I'll give it to everyone, it does have a statement on it, you know, stating what the purpose is, why they are signing it, okay? And we don't have time tonight, but I'll present that to everybody, and when we get, like I said, we're still collecting signatures. That's one thing we're doing. We're looking at something a little different, though, Councilman Martin, in addition to that. We're looking also at the legality of who is supposed to maintain this manor, and we're looking at the 1984 ordinance, when the city accepted the 300 acres of real property in Mayor Long's will. And in the will it says to maintain the real property. The house is real property. It's a responsibility. It's our legal opinion, and we asked to have a meeting with Mr. Deemert, and I'll address that in a minute. It's our opinion that the house is real property, and it's supposed to be maintained by the city, and this goes back to 1984 when the city passed that ordinance. So I don't know where that stands, Mr. Deemert. I know our lawyer.
Don't you believe by doing that, John, though, that, and I'm not I'm familiar, but I'm not familiar with that. But I think it would be much, much better to ask the permission of our residents if they wanted to provide for this manor house, rather than legally forcing them to provide for it, because then that, in my opinion, constitutes taxation without representation. Because I think that our taxpayers should have a say in this, rather than just being told that we have to find funds in the city budget to pay for this. I think it's very, very important that when people are taxed, that a request is made to them and they decide the merits of the issue, as they do with the firefighters, as they do when the city asks for its temporary 0.25% increase.
Well, this is a good
But to suddenly say
discussion, though,
that, to
but-
suddenly say that the city has to come up with $500,000, $600,000, $700,000, $800,000 to maintain this structure, I'm not sure that that would be very, very well accepted by the residents of our community. That's why I think it really behooves you to get an initiative petition and to talk to the voters about this.
I think you're, I agree with you. I agree with you. But it's for the residents' benefit. This is their, it's our opinion, this is their inheritance. This will is their inheritance. And this city, we are going to fight having this city torn down. We'll take whatever means at our disposal to stop it from being demolished, is all I'll say right now.
Yeah, well, that's all well and good, except that any means at your disposal means that it will be costing the city money too, John. So you have to look at it that way, because our money is taxpayer money. Joe, you wanted to address something?
Yeah,
And please use the mic, Joe.
I don't want there to be any misunderstanding about what when the gentleman's talking about bringing in a petition, it obviously is not a petition other than to ask council to do what the committee wants you to do. It will have no legal impact. It will not cause the matter to be on the levy. In order to have a proper petition circulated to put it on the ballot, you have to have the appropriate petition. It's got to be filed with the clerk before it's circulated with any of the voters. It has to have all the right criteria on it. Now, if it's just a petition of the citizens or interested parties from other cities as well, asking council to do something, I mean, you take it for what it is, and you can do something with it or not. It will be your prerogative. I don't right now, no, but I can tell by just looking at it, it's what I'm saying it is. It's just going to be somebody asking you to do something, and there'll be signatures on it, and then you can go from there. It'll be your decision.
Has no power.
But it has no legal basis. What I am hearing tonight is a switch from constructive efforts to revitalize the building to a legal challenge. And we have faced this legal challenge many times before. The manor house is not real property. It is a structure, and it has been condemned by law for over a year or two now. It has been sitting there in violation of law. It is an attractive nuisance. It's a danger to the health, safety, and welfare of your citizens and anybody who goes near it or in it. So until it gets straightened away, the building commissioner's butt is on the line. The state of Ohio's butt is on the line, because they won't approve a change in use until it's structurally correct. You haven't put the right zoning onto it. We haven't appropriated the money to tear it down or condemn it, follow up on the condemnation that's there. So, I mean, it's really, if it's now going to be a court challenge, that is a sinful waste of money on both sides' part. But you don't have any choice. We have to follow the law.
I have a question here. Last year, we gave them a year. We gave this house back to them. We passed an ordinance up here, and we gave them this house back, and they got till the end of February. And my question to you, Joe, is, so now they're not even allowed in there, then we're not even giving them that year? Now there's some kind of, stoppage for them?
Well, if you read the
ordinance,
ordinance, they're given the year, but they have to do all of the things that are required by law within that year.
I think they should be allowed to do this until February 28th.
Well, I know, I understand you appreciate that,
Because that's what
but
we gave them.
our
and
job
then-
is to protect.
But then it looks like all of a sudden this water park appears, and then they get whatever they got from the building department.
Well, that's
And-
unfair to say. The
Well,
water park wasn't
I don't
around.
know.
This
I don't
fight's
know.
been going on for decades.
I understand that, but I'm talking about since I've been up here and since, for this year. The mayor asked us, he was gonna give the house back to the Historical Society to fix it. Council gave it to them for 1 year. February 28th is not here yet. That's my question. Why can't they
You
just
gave it to
continue
them
till
for 1 year
February-
with
well-
conditions.
Right, and they're working on
The
those
conditions are not being met.
And reconstruction, I think, you know, I mean, there's things that happen in the long run, so to me, I'm wondering, what happened to February 28th of 2013? Don't
Still
they
there.
have that? And so
Sure they
they
do.
should be allowed to continue and see what happens. There might be a miracle, you know? We're only in today. Something tomorrow can happen. We don't know what the future is.
We have complied with the stipulations in the over.
That's my question.
We are trying to do plans. We need access to the house to do plans.
Excuse me just a moment. Mr. Deemer, we're dealing here with concrete legal concepts.
Correct.
So that's what we have to work with. And the Longwood Manor Society has to work with that. But our role here as council people is not to take sides. Our role, I believe, is to do the right thing by the citizens. So once again, we may need to have you talk about ownership or priorities or what's best for the citizens. And I think Mr. Martin's suggestion of put this asset of the people of the city of Macedonia to the question and let them decide. I think we make them work that way, and that solves the problem. If the citizens say we want to maintain this building to the standards which we require, or let's put a blimp park there. Who cares what they want to, let the people decide. And I think that's what we ought to do, and we should work toward that from this.
Well,
day
actually, it's the administration's been talking about that and suggesting it, but this is not the kind of petition that we were suggesting.
Right.
It's,
Can we help him get the right to petition? or
Well,
just
the
give him
Board
right
of
phone number?
Elections, Mike, I gave John the number. He can call them, they can guide him right through it, tell him how many signatures. There's criteria, and they can help him a lot. All he needs to do is call them. And then when you put it on the ballot, you put it on the ballot in such a way that it would be funded by
Well, that's the-
whatever millage it would take to give you the amount of money you need. So you would be having people voting for the Manor House and the funding all at the same time.
you have to go back and have our engineers and architects give you an estimate, council, as to what you believe will be needed in order to restore the structure. And that would then be turned into millage, and you put it on the ballot as a levy, and the voters approve it or they don't. I mean, that's the way to fund it if that's what folks want to do.
And their only other
In
option is to
councils
raise
in
their
the
own.
past, councils had not wanted to do that. They don't want to be putting this structure tax up to the voters to vote on a tax on themselves when there were other more important things that council wanted the voters to pay taxes for. So, I mean, you have the right to do that, and you can do that. You
Well-
don't need them to do the petition. But if you don't want to do it, the only other way to do it is to have them do the petition to force it on the ballot.
We need help with that, Mr. Mayor, though.
Well, here, let me give you a
We don't
little
have the
bit
staff to
of
do that.
some input from our finance director. Scott, how much money are we going to be looking at for capital in 2013?
Currently, we just have 350 budgeted, but that's, again, a decision from council.
So you're talking about $350,000 total
Yes,
for capital expenses.
to balance the budget, yes.
If you went more than that, it wouldn't, the balance, the budget be all off, and all of our plans that we've made to bring this fiscal responsibility to the city would be out the window.
Yes.
So 350,000, John, that's total. That includes police cars, fire vehicles. That includes fixing roads. Now, either or. If you put this on the ballot, if you go out, you work, you find enough people who want to see it on the ballot, so we're not wasting money as a city putting it on the ballot, get enough people, bring those petitions forward, the initiative petition forward, and it goes on the ballot, done. Whatever the city wants, you've told me before, Mayor, this is what the people want. Here's your chance to prove that point.
You know, another thing I want to mention, I need to say something. Another thing I want to mention, this is too, the water park, the proposal that's being made for Longwood Park has nothing to do with the Longwood Manor. And I don't think it's fair to say, well, the water park is now going to hamper the efforts of the Longwood Manor Society, because both of these gentlemen are well-meaning gentlemen who have a very good concept that deserves very, very serious consideration.
We're not opposed to wakeboarding parks, it's just not where they're going to put it. It would impact the Longwood Manor, Councilman, it's going to submerge it.
I don't know that, because the plans really have not been presented at all. All we've looked at is a concept, but I don't want to.
It's conceptual.
Yeah, it's conceptual, as the mayor says. I don't want to put these two well-meaning gentlemen into a situation here where they feel a little bit skittish about pursuing their proposal, because they deserve consideration too, and one of them is a resident of our city.
Are they aware there is a historic building in this park that's part of a will? Are they aware of that? Can they contract this lake?
Password?
I don't know what goes on with it. That'd be, we're not, I'll just state my position again. We're not opposed to the wakeboard park. It doesn't seem to be that we agree with the location of it. So that is a separate issue. I think the residents
the gentleman
really
in
decide
back
about
would
the
like to
wakeboarding
speak
park.
for a second.
Can I just clarify something real quick?
Sure.
Just so you understand, we brought a proposal to the officials of Macedonia, asking them for an allotment of property.
This is not an end.
We gave an example of what we were looking for. By no means whatsoever, so you're clear, did we say we want to put this over the Manor House. We went to the mayor and all his officials and said we are looking for an allotted amount of property. If they could help us out, we'd like to build this at Longwood. We never once, ever mentioned the Manor House, just so you understand, okay?
It's not an end, it's that thing on top of your, the number 8.
All we did was go to the city asking for an allotted amount of property that they could consider to build a cable park. That's what we asked for.
In the past, John, I have offered you to help you build a suitable memorial. We can take bricks from the Manor House. We can do all kinds of things. And if we have something that is an attraction for people to come to Macedonia to use this attraction, we would have a fitting memorial there for Colonel Long and all that he's done and all that he's donated to this property. To this point, I cannot get you to say, let's work together and put something there that shows the Manor House. There's brass plaques, there's memorials, there's all kinds of things we can do to show it in all of its glory. Who would come to see the Manor House in the shape it's in? Right now, we have a black eye. We worry about signage. We worry about what's happening in our hotels and motels, and we have a house that has a tarp for a roof. And we make people tear those kind of houses down that have holes in the roof, and there's some people here that know exactly who I'm talking about, with a hole in the roof. and they had to tear it down. Now we have a house with holes in the roof, and it just stands there and stands there and stands there. Nobody is against Colonel Long. Nobody is against our inheritance, our history.
Mr. Mayor, I'd like to say something, since I'm getting kind of like, I just asked a simple question about an ordinance that we passed. I would like to say, John, I've told you this, and I've told the gentleman in the back, I think the water idea is an excellent idea. I've told you that publicly, I've told you that to your, you know, in speaking with you. And I also like the manor house, okay? I'm just trying to figure out where it happened to your work order that was there and in place till February 28th of 2013. That's my only question. I love the wakeboarding. I think it was a great presentation, guys. I think the presentation of the manor house was a great presentation too. And that's just what I feel. But I do feel, and I've told you publicly, this needs to go on the ballot. I've said that from day one. It shouldn't be up to council, and it shouldn't be put back on council because that we're going to tear this house down. I don't want to tear the house down. It shouldn't be our choice to tear the house down. It should be to the residents of Macedonia to tear the house down. It should go on the ballot.
Thank you. We need to move on. Let's go on to department reports. This is your last one, Jim. We don't want to take your time away from you, so make it a good one.
All right. Thank you, Mayor. Service crews successfully finished the LEAF program in, I want to say, record time. We promised 3 tours of the city. I think we did at least 5. We're also trying to wrap up a couple of stormwater projects while the weather's still cooperating. We're doing some road patching. Parks crews oversaw a street tree planting program in the Gardens of Highland, and that was paid for by the developer. And also, they performed a street tree replacement project on Long Bishop and Firestone, where the ash trees were removed. And crews are ready for snow. And that's all I have. I want to thank the mayor and council for allowing me to serve as the service director for the city of Macedonia for the last 15 years. For the most part, it was a pleasure.
For the most part. Thank goodness. Good job, Jim. Thank you very much. Good luck to you.
Thank you.
And don't forget, we're always here to talk. I'm going to need you. People don't realize what the wealth of information this man has. I'll probably be asking him questions 2 years from now, right?
No problem.
All right. Mike.
Yes, Mayor, I'll be brief. Met with the Northeast Ohio Regional Sewer District today. We have some good plans of attack for maintenance, and they will be coming in, and we'll set up a special meeting. Maybe we could get citizens involved, and they could ask questions and find out what's going to be happening. We're looking at that in February or March. And also, I'd like to congratulate Jim, and we'll miss you.
Hope you get better there, Mike.
Thanks.
All right, Angela.
Thank you, Mayor. Just a few announcements. Our winter brochure will be distributed throughout the community in the newsletter next Wednesday, the 19th of December. So I encourage everyone to look in your newspaper. That has all of our winter programming from January, the beginning of the new year, through spring. So we'll have all of those events, upcoming events and programs listed in that publication. Registration dates for our winter sessions begin next week, actually begin on Monday. We have a few changes. One of our biggest changes for the new year, we did survey our members for the month of November, and we will be changing our Sunday hours. We currently had cut back and not opened until noon, and that is a big complaint that we've been hearing for quite a while, kind of a deterrent for some people who can only come on weekends. So we will be opening at 9 a.m. and closing at 5 p.m. on Sundays, beginning in the new year. And I would like to wish Jim Crevar the best of luck and thank him for all of his service. We obviously, both having our hand in the parks, have had to work alongside each other and cooperate with each other quite a bit. And in his words, for the most part, it was a pleasure.
Thank you.
Very good. Scott.
Thank you, Mayor. Enclosed a short, brief report. The recreation membership projections for this year, I projected revenue at $502,000, which is 96% collected to date, with a total of $483,272 $217, and so we'll easily pass our goal of the revenue projections. As far as the income taxes concerned, the rec department as of date collected $826,485, and again, we'll exceed the projections for the revenues. As far as the general fund, totally we're up 16.6% from last year, and again, that's attributed to the 0.25% increase, and we'll have that for the next year in 2013. Per the Rita statement, we have collected a total of $7,311,241 compared to $6,268,000 at the same time this year. I also want to thank Jim and congratulate him on 30 years of service. I've only known him for 2 years, but truly a remarkable guy as far as wealth of knowledge. I mean, the amount of things his day encounters, from a skunk report or trees getting planted or resident complaints. He's one of the best professionals I've met in the business, and I'll definitely miss him here, and I think a lot of the residents will, and as well as the department heads. And it's been great, Jim. I wish I could have worked with you longer. And I also want to thank all council for working with me this year again, and wish everyone a happy holiday. That's it.
You bet. Tim.
Yes, Mayor, I'd like to thank you and council for the appointments tonight of the part-time firefighters. It's good to get the ranks up in the fire department. I'd like to congratulate Jim on his retirement. I'd like to say that, you know, Jim being on the fire department longer than he was actually service director here, it certainly is a great benefit to the city to have somebody cross-trained as a service director, also as a firefighter, also as an EMT, and also in emergency management. We went through a tornado, we went through floods, and Jim acting in those capacities and having that emergency management experience was a great benefit to the city. So the cross-training is certainly a great benefit to the city. So we're certainly going to miss him in the service director position. Also, Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday, be careful with any fire trucks that are out with sirens and lights on. They're going to be escorting Santa around for our Santa gift giveaway. So if you see lights and sirens, well, it could be something on fire, but probably it is Santa who we escort around to visit the kids and drop off presents. And that's all I have. I hope everybody has a Merry Christmas.
Thank you. John.
First and foremost, congratulations to Jim. I know everybody tries to get to the point that he's at now, and he's young enough where he should be able to enjoy his retirement with his wife. So congratulations to you, Jim. Once again, I want to remind everybody, if you leave your cars out overnight, lock them. Just lock them. That's the easiest thing that you can do. Everybody from here to, you know, across the state of Ohio is having car break-ins. So if you lock your vehicles, they'll move on to the next one. Once again, Mayor, we did traffic signal adjustments. I think we got it pretty close to being about right. We're not getting the backups we used to in the intersection of North Bedford, Valley View, and 82. Happens on occasion, but for the most part, that signal is pretty clear. If any of council have noticed, I think it's gotten a lot better. I spent an hour and a half out there in the cold with the gentleman from Signal Service, and I think we were pretty close. It's Christmas time. People are going to be out shopping. Try not to leave any packages where people can see them if they look into your vehicles, because they will. Most likely electronics, iPads, phones, computers, laptops, whatever. They will break in and take them if you leave them visible. Ideally, if you have a trunk, put them in a trunk. Take a vehicle with a trunk. A lot of people have vans and SUVs now, and you can just peer in the back window and see what's in there. So if you can do that. And handicap parking, as the weather gets bad, a lot of the older folks will be out shopping, and some less lazy people or less eager to walk people tend to park in the handicapped. If you do get a ticket, it is rather expensive. So if you can leave the handicap open for the handicapped so that they can
How
park
much
there.
are those tickets? I heard they're $250.
Yes, sir.
$250 is a lot
Yes,
of
sir.
money.
We were getting a lot of people when it was $50. You know, if I
Nobody
get
cared.
caught, I'll pay the $50. When you raise it up to $250, it gets people's attention real quick. So it's posted. It's not a surprise if you do park there. They are posted. So leave them for the handicapped.
It's cheaper to walk.
It is. Thanks, Mayor.
Thank you, John. Nick. Joe?
Yes, Mayor, I also like to wish Merry Christmas to the mayor, the administration, all the members of council. I think it has been a very productive 2012. I also agree that Jim Crevar is much too young to be retiring, so I think he should still come here on Thursday nights, 2nd and 4th. And I see an empty chair right next to Mike. And, you know, you can kind of pass the baton over to the next generation of council watchers. So I'll look forward to still seeing his face right here. With that, Merry Christmas.
Thank you.
Mayor, I'd like to make a motion to adjourn.
Second. All in favor? Aye. Thank you very much for coming. Come again.
I hope you feel better.